a beautiful day. It's really cold, but absolutely gorgeous. Today is Monday, Martin Luther King Day. So that's January 20th, 2025. It's also Inauguration Day, and Donald John Trump was just inaugurated as the 47th President of the United States. Thank you, God. My prayers were answered. Really, all I wanted in the world was for Donald Trump to be reelected president, and it happened. And he did not just squeak by with a few thousand votes. He won pretty solidly and by quite a margin, especially in the Electoral College, but also with the popular vote. I mean, there was no dispute anywhere. Nobody had to sit there for days and days counting votes or recounting a few hundred votes or a few thousand votes just to certify the election. I've never mentioned politics in terms of which presidents I favor in any of my videos, because I wanted to make sure that when people were acting against me in extremely violent, aggressive, and prejudicial ways, people who I don't know and who should know nothing about me, that they were not reacting to anything that I said politically on YouTube. But my name is not on YouTube. Elle Woods is not my real name. So even if I did say anything political, nobody should have to know that it's actually coming from me and not from Elle Woods. However, everybody seems to know a little too much about me and my family, and that is because it has nothing to do with me or my YouTube channel or any of my long dormant other social media channels. It's because there's a activist group called BLM, which really don't have anything to do with black people. They're just a bunch of psycho scum creeping and perving and hate stalking people who don't do what they want them to. They're the ones who are aggressively harassing me and my family and doxing everything they possibly can about me and my family. I'm really hoping that Donald Trump's presidency will put an end to that. This craziness started a few years ago with the Biden presidency, and that's when all hell kind of broke loose and a tremendous amount of harassment, stalking, and trolling was going on, not just in my corner, but also for my elderly parents who were a little too naive to fully understand what was going on. I mean, I think they kind of saw that something wasn't right, but they couldn't quite figure it out. So it is about 15 degrees outside right now. It is so cold that my hand is numb. And I'm glad that the presidential inauguration was held indoors at the Capitol Rotunda, as was Ronald Reagan's in 1985, because people would have frozen their heads off, along with frozen everything else off, if they'd had to stand out in this weather all day today. I do understand that Virginia is a little bit more south than Boston, but it is still really, really cold down there as well. So it's a glorious day. I am loving this beautiful, clear, wintry weather. We just got snow yesterday. And the snow is magnificent. I love snow. It just makes everything so much prettier. And thank God Joe Biden is out. Kamala Harris solidly lost the election. Thank you, God. She was one of the most incompetent vice presidents, besides maybe Dan Quayle, in the history of the United States. Even the vice presidents in the early 1800s seem to have been quite more solid in terms of their abilities than Kamala Harris. So the first vice president was John Adams. He became the second president of the United States. And then I think we had Jefferson also was president or vice president. Jefferson was vice president, and then he became president. So we've had a few pretty strong vice presidents who then ended up having successful presidencies of their own. Kamala Harris was not one of them, and she does not have what it takes to be an effective vice president, let alone a successful president of the United States. Joe Biden was a disaster. He literally can't remember his own name and probably, was a little too advanced in age to really be effective as a president. Not that it has much to do with age, because Donald Trump is 78. So, it's really based on the individual and how successful and healthy and mentally sound they are. I'd say Donald Trump just won with flying colors in all respects, in all areas. So I'm really glad. We'll see how that affects shithole scum cities like Boston that, house and protect large numbers of criminals. The police are corrupt. Everybody's all about illegal immigration, like they just love the illegal immigrants. And really, this country is not about illegal immigration. It's about legal immigration. This is a country of legal immigrants. This is a country of people who came here through the legal and proper immigration channels, including my own parents. They had to wait for their visas to be approved and, all that stuff. They did it the legal and proper way. Certainly nobody has a problem with that. It's the tens of millions of illegal immigrants who are pouring across the southern border. A lot of them come from countries that you have no idea who anybody is in that country. They could be terrorists. A lot of them are criminals. A lot of them are severely disturbed people, and that's why they come through the southern border. They're not waiting to have their visa approved to come into this country. They're basically a bunch of mentally disturbed, lawless thugs. And the Biden administration allowed this to happen in unprecedented numbers. And now cities like Boston are the reflection of that. Very high crime rates, ineffective police that really don't want to address any kind of crime whatsoever, except if it's a stabbing or a shooting. Then they'll do something about it. But it's embarrassing. I mean, the Boston Police Department, it's an embarrassment to law enforcement and to crime. They can't enforce anything. They can't investigate anything. Even something as simple as surveillance devices, they're not equipped to look into that. Really? What is this? Like the Dukes of Hazzards in the 1970s? So, hopefully the Trump presidency will change all that. He's kind of aware that there's a lot of corruption in the police departments in liberal cities such as Boston and New York. And maybe he will change the Department of Justice so that they have stronger investigative units to look into this kind of thing. Okay, my hand is numb. I need to pull this back in. But yay, Inauguration Day, and yay, Martin Luther King Day, because Martin Luther King was all about color blindness. He was not about BLM, hate-stalking white women who they can't have anything to do with. I don't think Martin Luther King would have been a big supporter of BLM. He was not a big supporter of the Black Panthers, and he was actually alive when the Black Panthers were engaging in their radical agenda in the 1960s, and the Black Panthers have basically morphed into BLM. And they're really not doing anything to elevate the Black community. They're looking to tear down people who do not think like them. That's a very different thing.